Hi, I'm Mike Marcy. Every year, a group of 30-plus medical professionals travel to San Lucas Toliman in Guatemala to perform orthopedic surgery on local children. In March of 2019, I joined the team to document their work.
My name is Marcy Shapley. I'm a physician assistant, and I'm from LaConner, Washington, where I work in an internal medicine practice. I learned about this mission because Dr. Steve Miller is in the same community as I am. Yeah, so my father-in-law was in Rotary with Dr. Miller, and he'd heard me, talk about my desire to do a trip like this, and so he said, talk to Steve, said give Steve a call, so I did, and that was prior to last year's trip. So last year was my first trip down here. This is my second year, and it's amazing. These families are incredible. What they do for their kids and where they come from to get their kids here, and these kids come back for follow-up and they're in great shape. It's just impressive. But I'm not a surgeon, I'm not a pediatrician, I'm not a hospitalist, and yet Steve has done a great job, and this year Carl, of finding a place for everybody to be super helpful, and it's just amazing. This year I'm primarily working with Dr. Mark Backman, who's a family practice doc. So we're managing the kids on the ward after they come out of the OR and helping to discharge them the next day. Yeah, so there were several kids this year that I recognized from last year. A couple that had both maybe 2 club feet. One was fixed last year, had the second one done this year. And it was pretty amazing because that's major surgery. So it is really fun seeing them back. I don't think they recognized me, but I recognized them. So the feet or the joint that had been repaired last year, or some of them maybe 2 or 3 years ago, most of them looked amazing. There were some, I think some fracture repairs that needed to be redone, or either hardware taken out or different hardware put in. But it's all about function. It's about getting these kids and quite a few adults back into the community where they can go to school, go to work, do what they have to do.
So Marcy, what do you get out of coming down here?
Well, for me, I just kind of grew up in a family where if you could give back, you give back. And it's always been important to me. That's just, my job. Everybody here who's working in the medical world, that's part of what we do, right, is helping others. And so I get out of it the fact that I've been able to be helpful, and I'm able to do it. I'm healthy, I can afford to come down here. And so why not? Plus, I really enjoy learning about the culture, seeing a new place in the world. I think it kind of helps put my life into perspective. I think every human being should travel, get off that island that we call home, and see how people live in other parts of the world. I think that people would have a lot more appreciation and sympathy and just understanding of other cultures.
How is the trip this year different, say, compared to last year? Have you made any new discoveries?
The main difference between this trip and last year is the role that I'm playing. Last year I was prepping kids for pre-op and helping in the post-op area. This year I'm actually rounding on the floor, seeing the kids kind of through the entire process, and I've learned so much doing that.
You stopped off in Antigua on your way here. Did anything interesting happen while you were there?
Yeah, so I arrived in Antigua Wednesday night, which was great because I had a full day Thursday. And Thursday morning I was having breakfast in the little hotel in Antigua, just by myself and a gentleman and one table over. Obviously I could hear him, he was American as well, and he's shuffling through paperwork and I'm shuffling through paperwork, and I'd heard him talking to the front office person earlier about a medical team. So I just asked him what he was doing, where he was from, and what was happening. And his name is Rich Rice. He has an organization that is based in one small community. And so unlike some other foundations and organizations that maybe go different places doing different things. He brings teams in just to this one community, dental teams, service groups from churches, building stoves, that sort of thing. And he's down in Guatemala for like 3 to 4 months a year, I guess, doing this. So he asked me, what we were here for, and I explained to him what this team was all about. And he said, oh my gosh, I have this kid in my town who has a clubfoot, and he was supposed to have a surgery in February, but the team ended up canceling the trip. They just weren't able to make it down. His family was pretty devastated. They were really looking forward to this. And I said, well, I'll give Steve Miller a call and see if something can happen. There's no guarantees. Day one is a screening day when 100 kids come from all over, the country basically, and do just that. We screen them, make a decision the following day if they're surgical candidates. So I called Steve and he said, send me the information. And so Rich sent me the information, I sent it to Steve. We had this kind of back and forth conversation, and I said, if the family can get their son here on screening day, we'll take a look. So they made it. It was a 9-hour trip. And Mom came down and with Diego, and he went through the screening process, and he was put on the schedule for, I think it was Wednesday morning. And he had a procedure. He was only able to walk on his toes on one foot because his calf and Achilles were all tightened up and contracted. And so it was a pretty simple procedure where they released that muscle, and he's able now to basically walk with a flat foot. It went great. They went home the following day, and all is well. It was amazing. I was just impressed at how responsive Steve was. He was like, you bet, if we can make this work, we'll make it work. And that's how this whole thing is. I mean, people came in this week randomly that we ended up adding onto the schedule Friday, And so they were like, yep, if we can do it, we'll make it work, we'll squeeze them in. That's what we're here for. We're here once a year. And he also kind of bumped up on the priority list because he was supposed to have surgery in February and it just didn't work. So the family was, what can we do? Yeah, it was great. It was a fun little process to be part of.